Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Dadayine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilakankanakalaye. Shilakankanakalaye. Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga. Ito Narsinga Parato Narsinga. Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsinga. Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsinga. Vahe Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga. Vahe Narsinga Hridaye Narsinga. Narsingham Adhim Sharanam Prapati. Narsingham Adhim Sharanam Prapati. Savakara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Manubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Kamala Varenaka Adbhuta Shringa Lalita Hiranyakashipu Anubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Savakara Kamala Varenaka Madhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Avatara Kamala Varenaka Madhuta Shringa Lalita Hiranyakashipu Anubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsinga-dev Narsinga-dev Jaya Narsinga-dev Jaya Narsinga-dev 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 Jaya Narsinga-dev Jaya Praladara Chahadvaya Pala, Jaya Pala, Jaya Pala, 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 Jaya Pala,
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Please accept my humble obeisances, dear devotees who are watching us here on Facebook, as well as those of you who are watching us here on the Zoom call. Thank you so much for joining our call here today. And we are going to continue reading from our Bhagavad-gita, which is chapter number 3 and text number 21. We have made very, very good progress so far, and we will continue on with this interesting topic that Srila Prabhupada is actually talking about, and Krishna is talking about, and Srila Prabhupada is expanding that through his wonderful purports as usual that we have. So let's get going without much ado. Chapter number 3, verse number 21, and I'm going to start sharing the screen here with you after these short prayers from the spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrujatam Sahagada Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagada Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So reading from Bhagavad-gita chapter 3 verse number 21. Yet, and it's a very, very famous verse, much quoted by many of the preachers and of course Srila Prabhupada. Yad acharati shreshthas tattat evetaro janaha sa yad pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. Yad acharati shreshthas tattat evetaro janaha sa yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Yad acharati shreshthas tattat evetaro janaha sa yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. And what does that mean? Let's look at the synonyms and the translation. So here the very first word is yat, and then you see in the verse it becomes yad. That is how Sanskrit words get transformed. So yat means whatever, this one or that one, whatever. Yat acharati, he does. So there is some action involved over there. Acharati, he does. Shreshthas, a respectable leader. Tat, that. Tat means when you're saying tat and tat, which means that and that alone. Eva, certainly. Itaraha, common. Janaha, person. Saha, he. Yat, whichever. pramanam, example, kurute, does perform, lokaha, all the world, tat, that, anuvartate, follow in the footsteps. So what is the Sanskrit for a respectable leader? That's the very important key word from today's verse. And you can unmute yourself and tell me.
Shresthaha.
Shresthaha.
Aha, Sreshtaha, very good. And then, yeah.
Sorry, Mataji, can you please make it a little bigger, the letter?
The font, you're not able to
Yes.
see that?
Yes,
Okay, sorry.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Let's see. Is it better now?
Yes, yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Bigger still?
Oh, that's good.
Okay. That's good. All right. And good for you too, Satapa. Okay. So, Shrestha. And then example. Example.
Pramanam.
Pramanam. And then what is common? Common.
Itaraha.
Itaraha.
And what is common people?
Janaha. Itaraha janaha.
Okay. Now, why am I getting my echo? Somebody has got two things running. Either Facebook is also running or two things are running. Yeah, please mute yourself. Yeah. Okay. Then, see, that's the reason I put everybody on mute, because then I can't speak or hear myself. Okay. So, I'm going to mute yourself and all of you, but I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself. But after you unmute yourself, please get into the habit of the hygiene, Zoom hygiene, and that is after you unmute and speak, soon after that you should mute yourself. Similarly, when you raise your hand and ask a question, after that soon you should lower your hand, so that there's a little rhythm over here and there's no confusion. Okay, then we work in an organized manner. Okay, so then what is the meaning of following in the footsteps of everybody? Sanskrit scholars, please tell me what that is.
Anuvartate.
Anuvartate, all righty. And then if somebody does something, what do you say?
Kurute.
And what else can you say? In addition to kurute.
Acharati.
Acharati.
Acharati, right? Acharati. Okay, very good. Now let's go and see the translation for the verse. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattadeve taro janaha sa yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. So pramanam was example. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standard he sets by exemplary acts, right? By his pramanam. Whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures like Manu Samhita and similar others are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teachings should be based on the principles of such standard Shastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of spiritual realization. The king or the executive head of a state, the father and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents Therefore, they must be conversant with the standard books of moral and spiritual codes.
Mataji, this was not showing on the screen.
Oh, sorry. You should have protested sooner. All right. So anyway, doesn't matter. It's all about listening. So this was a good exercise in attentive listening. So because now I'm going to ask you questions on what you heard. So what have you heard so far? Tell me. Unmute yourself one by one and tell me.
Public person leads by example. That's basically what it is.
All right. Okay. What else did you hear?
Mataji, Lord
Teacher
Chaitanya
is
say that teacher should behave properly before he begins
Behave
speaking.
properly. Okay. Very good.
And he must follow
the
this.
teacher should follow the moral. Sorry, Aruni, please go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The teacher, the acharya should, should be aware, should read the books and the scriptural books based on the morals. He should know, he should be conversant with that.
Right. Right. Good. So so here we see there's a term here, yad acharati shreshtas, right? So there are leaders. So let's now look at, just give me some examples of leaders in your life, people who are your role models or who are role models for others. So you're not restricting to just you. Tell me. Give me some examples.
For the country, Biden.
Okay. So Biden is a leader. Okay. Some more examples.
Martin Luther King was very influenced by Mahatma Gandhi,
Okay.
following non-violence movement.
Okay. So who is the leader in this case?
Mahatma Gandhi, both
Okay.
of them.
Both of them. Okay. All right.
But then Baba Ambedkar, I really like him, though he was from a Shudra family, but you see, he wrote the constitution for India, and which is still date we are following.
Actually, he was
So
not
he
even
was a
from
great-
the Shudra class, right? He was below the Shudra class, wasn't he?
What can we talk about Shudra and not Shudra? We all are Shudras in Kali Yuga.
I mean, I'm just
Prabhupada will just say that.
I'm just
That was good.
All right.
just curious about that.
So yeah, let's not cut Ambedkar to pieces on Facebook.
No, I'm
So
not-
anyway, yeah. So what you said was that he was a leader for despite his despite the difficulties with which he and the circumstances in which he grew up, he became a leader, right? What else? Who else do people follow?
Vaisheshika Das.
Mataji,
Sorry. Sutapa?
Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he was freedom fighter.
Netaji Subhash was a leader. Okay. Who else?
But what about Abdul Kalam?
Abdul Kalam. Okay. People follow him. All right. Who else do people follow?
There's a lot of things.
Krishna.
Okay.
Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Lal Bahadur Shastri. All right.
Mataji, we follow our gurus and
We follow our gurus.
Shiksha gurus.
Okay. Very good. We follow them. Yeah. Who else do you follow in life?
Her parents.
The scriptures.
Follow your parents,
Scriptures, yeah.
right? You
The
follow the parents,
scriptures.
follow the scriptures, right? Yeah. Okay. Now I had said that don't give me the names just of your leaders. Give me and not just who you follow, but give me in general about who people follow.
Teachers.
They follow the teachers. Yes.
Mostly they follow the leaders, Mataji.
Okay. That
They
is already
even follow
covered.
the movie stars.
We follow the movie stars. I was waiting for that. Right? Follow movie stars.
And like football stars and
Football stars. Yes. Yes. The games,
Some,
right?
some
parents.
famous singers also, Mataji, we follow.
Famous singers. Okay. So we consider them to be our leaders. We also, how about successful businessmen?
Yes.
Yeah, those who are very rich tycoons and so on.
So you do that, right?
We
So they
follow,
are.
we follow Prabhupada's, Srila Prabhupada's books and
We follow Srila Prabhupada's books, right? Right. So the leader can be in any form, right?
yeah.
So people will follow anybody. A lot of people follow film stars. What's going to happen? right? So as like one of you mentioned, we shall follow our parents, right? And which is very true, that the child in the beginning just thinks that the parents mean the world to the child. What are the wonderful things that the parents can do that the child cannot do that, right? They can take things which are on the top shelf of the almirah. Mother can roll out a chapati, she can chop food, the father can drive a car. So there's so many fantastic things that they see, and that's it. They think that this is the leader, and as they grow, this is my leader, and they'll follow the parents. And as they grow, and then the parents send them to a school, then they see the teachers, they follow the teachers, right? And then, as they progress in life, and depending on the way and the influence that they had, they will start following different kinds of people, right? Some of you said you follow the guru, some of you said they follow the movie stars, some of you said that they follow games and things like that. So you will need leaders. You need leaders. Prabhupada just says that, that people in general require a leader, generally require leaders that you can follow and you can learn from them. And so if you are in a material world, then, for example, if you want to become a football player, right? If that's what your desire is, then you'll have to make some great football player as your leader. Right. Similarly, if you want to become a big cricketer, a good cricketer, whoever is the, Sachin, I don't know how old Sachin is now, who the latest football players are, you will make them your role model. So that is there. But then life is not all that, right? There is more to life. And the thing is that you have been given this human body. And the first Vedanta Sutra says, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now that you've got a human body, you have to find out what is the spiritual life. And so you will do, and you are supposed to do things that will take you towards that end. So here also Krishna knows that. And so Krishna immediately is very smart, right? He did not say the good, right? He says Shreshtaha. He did not say Nayaka, not just a leader. He said Shreshtaha. So Shresht, what is a respectable leader is what it is, right? Respectable. And so, there might be people can be great political leaders, but even, they are scorned off and scoffed by the public. So he's saying the Shrestha. So now let's just see that who is Shresht? What makes somebody Shresht? What do you think?
Knowledgeable person.
Okay, so your knowledge makes you Shreshtha. Okay.
Whose actions and behavior is or maybe achievement is different, something more higher than other persons.
Okay, whose actions and words are above average, way above the average, right?
Who is morally elevated.
Morally elevated, follows high moral principles. So let's look at a verse from Bhagavad-gita, a few verses, right? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas Tyaga Shantira Paishunam Daya Bhuteshvalo Luktvam Mardavam Hri Achapalam Teja Shamadhiti Shacham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. And then comes the whole big list. Fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So as I was going through this big list, virtues that were defined here, right? Could you do a mental tick to say that, yes, I would look for these qualities in my leader? Would you like to have a leader who gets angry at you all the time? Would you like to have a leader who's not humble? Yes or no? Say
Yes,
something.
Mother.
Would you like to have a leader who's not humble?
No.
No.
No. Right? So you see that a best and a good leader is one who is a devotee. That person can lead you to the right goal. Right? So I need to know the prayojan. Where am I supposed to go in this life? Athato Brahma Jigyasa. That is what my goal is. So if that is the goal of your life, your true leader is the one who will lead you towards your goal, your ultimate goal. On the way, you will meet many kinds of leaders. Like I said in the beginning, a child might think that the parents are the leaders. And then that might not hold true for the rest of their lives. Like that, the parents might not be able to fulfill their spiritual needs. The needs for spiritual advancement might not be able to guide them in the right direction on the path of spiritualism, like that, right? So it is very, very interesting that, people and kids, and even as they grow up, they will just think that this one around me, he's my leader, he's the best, till they get this Brahma Gyan and somebody tells them that, this is not the purpose of your life, right? So in the story of Ajamila that we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, so it's very interesting that in the story of Ajamila, Ajamila, we know, was a Brahmin. He used to lead a good life, but then he fell into the mode of ignorance and gets married to a low-class woman, and then has kids with her and leaves her original nice wife and starts to spend time with this one, right? And then he has a small child, and he has named him Narayan. And because Narayan was very small, and Ajamila was already elderly at that time, aged, and he loved his son a lot. And whenever he sat down to eat, he would call his son and eat with him. If he had to drink something, he would call his son and they would drink together, like that. So always doing things with his son. And then when one fine day, obviously the Yamdutas came to fetch him because he was leading a sinful life. And because he was leading a sinful life, so the Yamdutas came. And so when he sees the Yamdutas, and Yamdutas are really scary looking. They look very scary. And so when he sees these scary personalities, he's afraid. And what he does is that he starts calling out to his son, Narayan, Narayan. And then what happens? That at the time of death, he's saying, Narayan, Narayan. And so the Vishnu Dutas come, right? And then there is a tussle between them. Then the Vishnu Dutas tell them that you can't take them away. And then they have a little bit of a dialogue. And Yamdutas are defeated and they can't do anything. So they leave and they go back. And when they go back to Yamraj in Yampuri, they go and ask him, like, what is this Vishnu that they were talking about? We thought you were the boss. So you see, wherever you are, people might think that they are the boss, right? There was Narad Muni. Narad Muni goes and he thinks his father is the boss. His father is everything when he's born. And because he sees Brahma is controlling the whole universe, so he thinks that he's the whole soul. And then he's asked his father that, who is it that you keep praying to? You are the greatest. And then Brahma, gives Gyan to Narada. So it's quite possible that we might mistake, someone and take them to be the ultimate leader. So I'm not denying the fact that you will need a kindergarten teacher to take care of you when you're a small kid, and she would be your leader at that time. But that's not the ultimate leader. So Shrestha, a devotee is the Shrestha. Yes, the bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarver gunes tatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahadgyuna manorathena sitadhavato bahivi. So he's saying that one who is a devotee of the Lord, in him he gets all the good qualities of a demigod. Right? And harav abhaktasya, one who is not a devotee of the Lord. Kuto mahadguna. Where are the good qualities in that? In that one? Because what are good qualities? We just listed from here, right? So, kuto manorathena sthit dhavato bahi, because one who is not a devotee of the Lord, all that he does is that he sits on the chariot of his mind. And he sits on the chariot of his mind and he goes outside, right? Outside means into the material world. Dhavato, and not only goes, he runs. Why does he run? Because he's running from one thing to other thing to other thing to other thing. You know, oh, this is fantastic. Let me get that. He gets it, eats it even more, enjoys it even more, gets bored with it, now wants another thing, right? So there's this constant running that is going on in the outward direction, is not looking inside to see sarvasya chaham hidi sannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarve rahamiv vedyo vedanta kritved vide vichaham. Right? So we forget to look inside and we are looking outside, and through the medium of our senses. And so our senses, what are they doing? They are roaming. Even one of the roaming senses of a person who is trying to control them, the mind of that person gets carried away, right? Just as a bird can get carried away in the ocean at the wind, right? So our sense organs actually are not meant for that. Our sense organs, for example, Vishwamitra heard, used his sense of hearing. He heard while he was doing these vasya, he heard. And he heard the ankle bells, right? So his hearing is not meant to listen to and tune your ears to, oh, ankle bells must belong to a beautiful lady. And then you open your eyes and your eyes tell you, yeah, indeed, there's Menka standing in front of you, right? So our senses are not meant for this. Our senses are meant for capturing the information and then analyzing it and telling us that what is right and what is wrong. Okay. So before we go further, I see a hand raised. And so, Sadhana Mataji, is there a question there?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I was one similar story. When he's thinking of Narayan and calling out, isn't it? He's still attached to his son, and he's in his heart. Is he thinking about the Lord Krishna, or is he thinking about his son? So I mean, I'm trying to reconcile that. Yes. So how?
Yes.
But the name is Narayan. Is that the sound is effective enough to?
Right. So the story of Ajamila is not meant as an example, pramanam, right? Is not meant as an example for the verse yam yam vapi smaran bhabam tajyantante kalevaram, right? It's not meant to say that those who think of me in the end come to me, right? This Ajamila story is not portraying that. Ajamila's story actually talks about and is emphasizing and is bringing to the light the power of the holy names of the Lord. And so his whole story is centered around the fact that, when we sit down, people will take names of the Lord. Hey Ram, hey Krishna, mere bete ko bacha lo. Hey Ram, hey Krishna, meri naukri lagwa do. Hey Ram, hey God, oh Lord, give me this, give me that, save me, oh Lord, this thing, right? So we are taking the names of the Lord, but it is not pure chanting of the name of the Lord, right? Pure chanting of the name of the Lord will be when you just say from love, right? And all of us have been in love one or the other time of our lives, even with our spouses, even for a brief period of time. I'm just kidding. So sometimes when you love somebody and you're missing them, you just take their names, right? And so this is, you're calling out. It's not that you want them to come here. It's not that, you're criticizing them or anything like that. It's just out of love that you want their names to come. And so when our love for Krishna reaches that stage, we will also start saying, "Oh Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Krishna," like that. This weekend, my daughter had to do something. Both my son-in-law and daughter had some errand to run, so they needed our help to babysit their daughter for about an hour. And so we took her out to a park. And so she was very happy because she saw her mom and then saw her grandmom. So it's like, oh, double the pleasure today. And then, like everything in this material world, the mother turns and walks off. And then she's like, you will not believe, for the next 1 hour, it was like, mama, mama. I was like, oh my goodness, she's like, she's chanting the mother's name. Right? So people do that out of love, they do that. So when that becomes Krishna, right? When we start taking the name of Krishna for the sake of Krishna, like that, because it pleases him and because we love him so much, that is when the things happen, right? So that is where the aim for us is. So this story is actually telling you that you should take the name of Krishna without any modification. Right. There should be not a single iota of that. And here is the beauty of the name. And so this whole chapter, the 2 chapters or so in the Bhagavatam, or 3, they are basically emphasizing that the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that if somebody takes the holy name of the Lord in so many ways, Sanketyam parihasyam va stobam helanam eva va vaikuntanam grahanam asheshagaharam viduhu. So what this verse is saying is that Sanketyam means that you are chanting the holy names of the Lord, not directly. There's just a little bit of a sanket, a little bit of I don't know how to translate sanket into English. That word is eluding me. But Sanketyam basically is telling you that,
signal, Mataji.
Say that again.
Signal.
Yeah, sort of a signal. Yeah. And then, so he's saying that, if you are doing it, you are doing a Sanketya, you're, assigning, okay, this is Krishna. Parihasyam, parihas means to laugh, right? You're making a joke about it, right? Oh, you're Krishna. What Krishna? Oh, you Hare Krishna, something like that, right? And then, sometimes people could also be taking his name as in the form of an entertainment. So they could even be taking the names of the Lord because they are a famous singer. They have no love for Krishna in their heart, but they are being paid the big bucks by the film producer to sing, and they will sing, And so their focus there is on the music and not necessarily on the devotional service of the Lord, right? So, so there will be, musical intonation, Krishna, 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 Krishna. And then, Sarigama Padanisa, Krishna, Krishna. So this is all musical entertainment that is going on. There's no bhakti in this kind of utterance, right? And so 2 things to keep in mind. One is the holy name is very powerful, that if a person in this life gets the opportunity, there are so many good singers, but not all good singers get an opportunity to sing bhajans or sing glories of the Lord, right? And if a person is so fortunate to get that opportunity that he's singing, the name is so powerful that the name will have the effect on that person, right? However, we have to remember that person could be the lowest of the person on this planet, could be indulging in all kinds of sinful activities and happens to have a beautiful voice. And guess what? He's being paid money to sing that song. So he will sing that song for you. So we should not listen to that. The Prabhupada says that when a devotee speaks, right? So when a devotee is speaking, because the devotee is always focused on the lotus feet of the Lord. So when a devotee speaks, his words go and his words are offered. They always offer their prayers to the lotus feet of the Lord. So any vibrations that come from the mouth, they are offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. And in the lotus feet of the Lord, there is the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord, red dust, saffron particles are there. So they get mixed by those vibrations. And when those vibrations enter into our ears, they will have the effect. But if somebody is just singing like that, it is like, milk that has been touched by a snake. So if you drink it, then it's going to be bad for you, right? So although the holy name will be purifying him, and I'm not saying that, if you went and heard any of these Bollywood songs on Krishna, Allah make de, Allah this, Allah that, or, Krishna, hey, Bhagwan, tu so raha hai, all the songs that you see, yes, they will have their effect, slight effect, because the holy name is like that, right? But it's better for people who are in devotional service to stay away from them. And that is why you will notice that we always prefer and we emphasize a lot on hearing songs that have been composed by our acharyas. It's very, very important. And the reason for that is that Krishna is defined as Uttama Shloka. And Uttama Shloka means choices of the words or choices of the slokas. And not only Uttam means choices, Uttam also means Ut and Tam. Tam means that it is ignorance, and Ut means it's beyond. So what is beyond the mode of ignorance is transcendental. So Krishna can be described by transcendental words or transcendental shlokas. So Uttama Shloka means that. So Uttama Shloka, I can't write Uttama Shloka. Why? Because I'm a material person. I'm so much entangled in the material world. And I have got the 4 defects that people have who are in the material world. So I cannot do that. So I will, rather listen to and recite and, refer to Uttam Shlokas. And who can write Uttam Shloka? The one who is beyond, right? The one who is already Sarvapadi Minirmukta, right? So one who is already beyond all these upadhis and who is a self-realized soul, who is a Jivan Mukta. If he is singing something, then those people are considered to be creators of Uttam Shloka. So that's why we prefer that we sing, and we always advise that you sing the songs of our Vaishnava Acharyas. And if you have to listen to a song being sung, it doesn't matter if the words are not the most musical. It doesn't matter if they're old and their voice has gone croaky. It doesn't matter. It is still a transcendental sound. So our aim should always be to do that, right? Then also the name of the Lord, if it comes and if it's even a part of a word, then also it will have its effect. Some effect it will have, right? Like, for example, if Varshana Mataji is going to cook Rajma tonight, so if you remove the Ja from Raj and Ma, if you remove the Ja, you get Rama, right? So even like that, you get the effect of the holy names of the Lord. So Ajamil's narration and Ajamil's episode and his pastime is more to emphasize the fact that the holy name is so powerful. And we also have got to remember that Ajamil, prior to his meeting that lady or that woman, was a very pious man, and he was a devotee of the Lord. And so his story is also telling you that one of the roaming senses, his eyes in this case, can bring so much of a downfall to you that you will just forget where you are. But Krishna remembers. Krishna remembered his devotee at the time of his death and sent the Vishnu Dutas. And then, of course, Ajamila doesn't go back to Godhead. The Vishnu Dutas tell him, and then they leave him there. And he then gives up all the bad habits. He goes to Haridwar. From there, he goes back to Godhead like that. Okay. So there are 2 hands which are raised up there. So let's take Sadhana Mataji and Varshana after that. And we see Raj Kuchiala Mataji is also here today. Welcome to the group, Mataji. So happy to have you. And have I stopped people? Can you unmute yourself or no?
Yes, Mataji.
You can? Okay. So I don't know, maybe Sadhana Mataji dropped off. Okay. I don't know what happened. Okay, she dropped her hand. Okay. All right, Varshana.
I hold my hand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Very nice lecture, Mataji. Mataji, like you see, Kabir Das, Tulsi Das, and Sur Das, they have written such beautiful dohas, but still they are considered Mayavadis. Why?
Because they are Mayavadis. It doesn't mean that Mayavadis cannot sing. And that is what I was saying. That beautiful music, beautiful recitation can all be done by anybody. Right? But it has to be Uttama Shloka. So it's not that what Kabir Daji says is not factual, right? Some of the shlokas that he says, he's explaining such nice things, right? And however, because he's impersonalist, so when you are in association of an impersonalist, what's going to happen? You're going to become impersonalist. Why? Because peer thing, you're not peer, even if it's a higher and lower relationship, you admire him so much, right? You like him so much, you like the poetry, you like whatever he's saying. So you just go there and then it's like, yeah, whatever he's saying is right. Yeah, I believe in him. We are all God, like that. So you are lucky that you found Srila Prabhupada, who has stopped you from going in this direction. Otherwise, 90% of the transcendentalists are Mayavadis right now.
Mataji, Meera is also Mayavadi. It comes under the Mayavadi, this thing. But
no,
she had such a beautiful love.
No. Meera is not Mayavadi.
No, Meera is not.
Meera is not Mayavadi. She used to pray to Krishna.
She's
But Meera, one thing which she did was, she did not take a guru. She was doing things on her own, right? So that's why we don't follow that route. It's not that we say that whatever Meera did was not wrong or whatever. I mean, she was a devotee in her own right. So we're not saying that Meera is bad. We're not saying that episode is bad. We are just saying that all of us, are at that stage and that level, or on that rung of the yoga ladder, that we can't afford. We have to be in the intensive care unit. We have to be in the care of a spiritual master. We can't behave like Meera.
She didn't
Yad acharati shreshthas tat, right? So that's what I'm saying. She's so shresh. She's but you have to understand, and you have to know, if you can all mute yourself, because I'm getting echo. So so this is what the verse is saying, that you have to understand what is good and what is bad. And I was saying that our senses are meant to gather information from outside and to know what is good and what is bad, right? And what we had read a few days ago from chapter 16, Shastra Pramanam Te, right? Karya Karyam. So you should, through using the example of the scripture, Shastra Pramanam. So take the examples from the scripture. So read the scriptures. From the scriptures, you will know what is right and what is wrong, right? Otherwise, the story of Meera will appeal to you so nicely, right? And that is why the innocent public might just try to behave like that. They might just think that they can behave like Krishna, right? And then the husband will give them poison, and then they will die because they are not Meera. Meera was an exalted devotee at a level where poison doesn't.
अगर कोई बीमार है, वो डॉक्टर अंकल की हेल्प लेने जाएगा या डॉक्टर अंकल से दूर भागेगा? आपके किसके पास गई? कौन से हॉस्पिटल का?
So yeah, so this was very good, actually. This was a good interruption. It was to the point that we had, but anyway, so yeah, so I was saying that we have to take the refuge of the Shastras to understand what is right and what is wrong. Because when you look outside, and everybody is having temples in Calcutta, there's a temple for Amitabh Bachchan. There are temples for cricket players, right? So things like that are there. And people just follow. People just follow, they blindly follow. So it is important for us to understand, and it is very fortunate for us to have a spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, who's going to tell you that, hey, look here, this is right and this is wrong, this you should have done, this you should not have done, and so on and so forth. Like that, right? So, so Prabhupada over here in that purport, let's go back to the purport, and he's saying that, I'm not sharing the screen with you yet, right? So let's see if there are some more points left from the purport. Share screen number 2. So 321. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tat eva tarojana. Yeah, so one more point that Prabhupada actually says in this is that, and there is a very nice verse actually that comes up from in Bhagavatam in chapter Canto 5, where Rishabh-devi is teaching to his sons. And in that he says that you know, it's a very strong verse because it says that, you know, do not become a guru, do not become a king, do not become a mother, and so on and so forth. The list is there. If you cannot deliver, you know, those who are dependent on you, if you cannot deliver them from this material world, you have no right to become a father or a mother or a guru. It's very, very important. And that is why, you know, it says in the very first verse of Updeshamrita, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jivya Vegam, Udaropastha Vegam, Teshan Vegam Yogishaheta Dhira, Sarvam Apimam Prithivim Sasishyat. So he says that one who has conquered the urge of the, you know, the belly and, you know, the mouth, the, you know, the tendency to talk, to eat, the belly, genitals, and so on and so forth. One who has controlled those things, only that person can become a guru. That's why yad yad acharati shreshthas. Whatever you are doing, then common men will follow. So if you are somebody's guru, then those people are going to follow you. Right? Similarly, it goes to the parent also. So if the parents are telling the child that, you know, you sit quietly and you read quietly because you need to pay attention to your studies. And you tell that to the child, and then you take out your cell phone and you start listening to the music, and the music is playing in the same place. So you're not being an ideal parent. So it's very, very important for us that, you know, as parents, we have to show the right behavior. So this Shreshthas that is talking about, so we talked about the ultimate Shresth, right? So we talked about Shresth as cricket players and football players and our President of America, Subhash Chandra Bose, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, you know, Krishna, Guru. We talk about all those, and then we got the Shrestha, the topmost, we said, is one who is a devotee of the Lord. But sometimes people will become Shresth just because of certain situations. For example, parents are Shresth, parents are superior to their kids, at least in the beginning. Parents are superior to their kids because of the sheer age and because of the relationship that you have. Right? Similarly, a king, because of his position, is superior to us. Like that. And Prabhupada, in one of the purports of Bhagavatam, actually says that those who are superior to you, you have to show them respect. So if the king could be anybody, you know, he could be the, you know, worst kind of a character person, but, you know, if as a citizen, if he's standing in front of you, you have to show him respect. Like that, right? So this Shrestha thing that comes to us is because of the, you know, relationship. It could also sometimes be just because of the age, right? So because of the age, we see in our prayers of Queen Kunti that we do and which we will do tomorrow. In the prayers of Queen Kunti, we see that Kunti Maharani is hesitant of offering obeisances to Krishna. Why should she hesitate? Women older than Kunti Maharani pay obeisances to Krishna. Right? Everybody's supposed to pay obeisances to Krishna. Why? Because she's thinking about the relationship. I am his aunt. An aunt is a Shrestha, is at a higher level. Right? And Krishna also very happily used to play along with this. Right? When his friend Sudama came to meet him, what did he do? What did Krishna do to his friend Sudama when he came to meet him?
He gave him a higher seat, sat down and washed his feet.
There you go.
And
why?
wiped them so nicely. Yeah.
So why? Why do you think he did that?
He was a Brahmana. That is why he gave him the Shrestha place.
Exactly. So he was a Brahmana, right? So sometimes you're Shrestha because of the position in the society that you have, because of your Varna, right? Similarly, elderly people in the ashram, right? You will always respect a sannyasi, as young boys will respect a vanaprastha because of the place where they are actually situated. Similarly, if you are initiated, then you are at a higher pedestal than others, which means that now if people are calling you Shreshtha, it becomes even more a bigger and a higher responsibility upon you to behave properly. It's very, very important. Right? Why?
But it is lacking in younger generation, Mataji.
Because he's saying that whatever great men do, young people follow. Right?
Follow.
So after initiation, if you are chanting and you're also talking to somebody and you're chanting, you're also talking to somebody junior in the temple who's not initiated but is thinking of following that path will think, okay, this is what chanting is. This is how chanting should be done. Why? Because this is an initiated person. He's behaving like that, right? So after initiation, the responsibilities increase even more because others are following you and public is innocent and they will follow like that. Vindhyavali Mataji, you were saying something?
No, I'm feeling so bad that younger generation are not following this, treating elders or seniors respectable like that, it's lack now. It's not that much.
Yeah, and it is to be expected. Yeah, it is to be expected. If you set your expectations, accordingly, then the pain will be less, and then the mind will work instead of the heart, in the sense that you will say, okay, now these people really need my compassion. And so they're not going to respect. Okay, fine. But then people do respect. Teenagers do respect certain things. And one of them is food. Tasty food, even teenagers will eat. Right? So you can arrange for some prasadam to go and then just let the prasadam act.
Try to teach them and tell them, see elders, please bow down your head and do that obeisances. No, nobody bothers.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
do you think
it's one of the offenses? Yeah. It's one of the offenses to chanting the holy name of the Lord is to preach the glories of the holy name to those people who are not interested in doing it. And why is it an offense to me? Because I was instrument, cause, right? We had talked about cause, karana, hetu. So we are the cause of them becoming derogated. Because of us, now they are blaspheming Krishna even more because of us.
Yeah.
So you have to be very, very
That's
careful.
True.
Raw mango, let them be. Let them be. Don't focus, be like a honey bee and go after the honey. Don't be like a fly who goes after the soaring point, soars in the body. So if you do that, yeah, you'll be happy. Right? Yes, we have, it's out of love that we try to preach and we try to tell and we try to disseminate and we try to glorify Krishna. But let's not take it, that seriously in our head that, why did this person not get, not listening? Why? Because if we are thinking that, then there is already the focus is there on the result. Because I told you Krishna Katha, and so now the result should be that you should immediately bow down and, lay flat on the ground because I told you glories of Krishna. And that's not going to happen. And then what's going to happen? There was a kama, there was a desire, and when the desire is not fulfilled, then comes krodha. And when the krodha comes, then your memory is lost. When the memory is lost, intelligence is bewildered, right? There's a circle, right? This is chapter 2 of Bhagavad-gita. I read that. So this is what happens, right? Leave it to Krishna. It's the raw mango. Raw mangoes, we can't ripen the raw mangoes nicely, right? If you take off a raw mango, you can't ripen it nicely. It won't taste as it would taste if it was on the tree. So let Krishna ripen them similarly. We don't have to pull them out too soon like that. Okay, so I'd like to stop the class now. Today is Thursday, and we have another meeting that starts right after this. And any last thoughts by anybody? We'll take it. One thought, please. Anything that you heard, anything that you want to take away?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji, last explanation was very nice, but will you please tell one more time? Means we are the bee and we follow the honey. So,
Honey.
but yes.
Be like a bee and go after the honey, right? So what does that mean is that just as bee goes to things which are sweet, so our mind and our thought should also go towards good things. For example, be appreciative, focus on Srila Prabhupada and look at his life, admire his life, admire the life of Prahlad Maharaj, admire the beauty of Radharani, admire the devotional service of Radharani, admire, admire, admire. So you'll be in one sort of a consciousness of a bee. And what does the fly do? Wherever there is a sword, there is stool, the fly will go there, right? And so if you're constantly looking at, I don't like Sadhana Mata. Do you know what she does? And then, that day, and of course, and not only that, Vindhyavali, do you know, should I tell you about Vindhyavali? The mind is constantly going on like that, constantly. So what are you thinking? Negative thoughts in your mind. Right? So focus on the positive. When you focus on the positive things are going to happen to you. When you focus on the negative is going to happen to you. Actually, Prabhupada gives an example that when a fly is caught by a wasp, then the fly, is constantly meditating on the wasp. So when the fly dies, it gets the body of a wasp. So whatever you're meditating on, you will become that. So if you're meditating on good people, admiring all the goodness that is around us, and there's plenty of goodness there. Why don't you take it all as an exercise? That tomorrow you're going to look at and find out 5 good things around you.
I've heard this before, Shraddha Mataji, like what you meditate upon. When you give that example of the fly and the wasp, that's really scary.
Prabhupada gives that, yeah.
Just want to add, I heard a podcast last week. It was Uttama Prabhu, who's Boston Temple, and Ananda Vrinda-mataji's Prabhu. And the way he described, they were talking about the subject of raising kids, and this question came up of how difficult it is. And he was saying that because we're in, Kali Yuga, it is difficult. It's difficult for the children. And we can only do is provide compassion and actually role model, so they get attracted by our behavior, and then they want to then ask questions. It's really the only way. So, so to be like a bee and go after the honey is kind of like how we have to do, so that they can look at us and say, oh, wow, what is going on there, right? And this is the only way. So
good. Yes, very good role model. And then actually the way of the Shastras, like Manu, there was a mention of Manu Samhita in the purport, where Prabhupada was saying that there are rules and regulations that we should follow. So these rules and regulations are saying that when you produce a child, it's not about that I got pregnant and now I have to read the Bhagavatam. So let me find out which group the ladies are all pregnant and they're reading the Bhagavatam. It's too late. It starts with Garva Bandhan Sanskar, which means that even before you think of conceiving a child, you have to purify yourself, your mind, the consciousness, through rigorous devotional service. And then, which means chanting 50 rounds a day, like that. So it starts from there. And who was it? I think, was it Devamita Swami Maharaj was saying, or who was saying, I'm forgetting, but they said that in these days, especially in our side of the world, they said that children are conceived over a bottle of wine on a Friday night. So imagine how much of passion is there, what they meant is how they're already drunk, they don't even know who they are with, right? And the children are conceived like that. Right. And he had given a very powerful speech on preaching to the first world, advanced countries, and how difficult it is. And he says that, if I'm giving a lecture and if I see a child sitting between a mother and a father, these days you don't even know whether this one is the child's father and whether this one is the child's mother or not. You have no idea who's there with whom, how many set of parents you change, because the qualities which are there for a devotee are not there. Humility, tolerance, those are not there, right? And so that's why we are like that. But we will, but the good news there is that, well, Kali Yuga is bad, right? Kali Yuga is bad. People are bad. People are, eating meat. They're doing all kinds of sinful activities. But what are you doing right now? You're listening to Krishna Katha. So it is possible. So it is better to light your own little candle than to curse the darkness. That's what my principal told me when on my farewell party when I was in high school. So try to light your own little candle. One piece of burfi, prasadam, if you're able to shove into the mouth of a teenager, it'll have its effect. It's your little candle. All right. So on that happy note, we'll stop this class today and we will talk tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And tomorrow we're going to do Srimad Bhagavatam. Vanchakalpataru Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Om.
Patanjali